determine that? Is that something that came up in your conversation?
I don't have an alcohol problem. Never had an alcohol problem. I went there for counseling to learn how to, manage stress, cope with stress in, a positive way, instead of, ways I've, tried to deal with it before that, caused me to make, mistakes. So
you've been, pretty outgoing in the past on social media. You said you like to pride yourself in a way of kind of showing the real job, in that light. Do you still feel like you'll be able to be that person where you can go on Instagram Live and still tweet, as much as you used to before this incident?
I won't be doing that at all. Me saying things, actions speak very louder than words. So that's my main focus now. Obviously, super excited to be back with my teammates. That's, the main thing right now. So right now for me, it's just, keeping the main thing, and continuing to, go through my process of, becoming, a better me. I feel like, if I do that, not only will it help me, but it'll help, everybody around me as well.
Josh, out of all this, what has been the most difficult part for you to accept out of all this?
Being away. Obviously, I made, a terrible decision. Plenty, made many mistakes in the past. But, being away from, my team, definitely, what hurt me the most. I sent messages to them, apologizing and stuff, but, it's better to, talk to them in person. So finally being able to be back to do that, definitely, helps me out a lot and, make me a lot more comfortable.
Gun violence is a big issue here in Memphis. As a superstar point guard here on the team, several kids look up to you. What is the message that you want to give out to them?
I don't condone any type of violence at all.
Ja, you've been, beyond what happened in Denver, you and your friends have been accused of a couple of things that do involve a gun. Do you have, I wouldn't say a gun problem, but is there an issue that has to be addressed within you in your circle?
No, not at all.
Do you feel like you still, with your platform, you can 100% be Ja Morant that you want to be?
I'm gonna always be Ja. I won't change, for anybody. Only problem with me right now is, just getting into, a space mentally that, I'm very comfortable in and, I feel good at it. That's why I made the decision to, take the time away and, go to counseling, and that helped me learn, a lot of things.
Did you sense this before the incident in Denver that this was becoming a problem?
I felt like my stress level has been becoming a problem. I considered it, but, I was, back and forth. Pretty much, kind of afraid to, leave the team. But, I felt that it was needed, and it definitely helped me out a lot.
John, there's nothing illegal about going to clubs when you're on the road. Not the first NBA player to do it, not the last. Can you continue going out as much as you do? And like you said, keep the main thing the main thing? Or is that
the focus is keeping the main thing the main thing? So clubbing and all is not on my mind at all right now.
John, how much were you able to work out and just physically? I know you're working on mental, but how much were you able to work out physically? And what do you have to do to get the steps to get back to peak performance?
Not much, man. So, that's why, I've been taking this time, since I got back very seriously and, getting back into, physical shape to be able to go out there and help my teammates. I've been doing a lot of conditioning and stuff since I've been back. So it's pretty much just, getting that feel back, getting back in, rhythm. That's going to decide, when I get back on the floor.
John, was that something like the author accepting your role in some of this stuff? Was that when you talked about the Pacers stuff before, you were like, you didn't do anything wrong? Now you talked about how you actually had some role, just generally putting yourself in the wrong place.
I said I had a role, but I didn't say anything about doing anything wrong still. So all those cases is sealed, so I can't speak on those cases. So when I have my time to, everybody would know the actual truth in every incident that I've been in.
When you have the situations where your mom calls you.
Why does the seal prevent you from talking?
You know about court cases?
I do.
There you go.
Ja, with everything that you've been through this when it first happened, did you ever for once ponder the idea that you could have lost all of this as hard as you've worked your whole life to get to this point? How much of that went through your mind?
I think I said that, in the interview with Jalen Rose, that, now, having that time away, you realize what's at stake, what you got to lose. And I said before that I realized that, and, I say it again for you for your answer.
Hey, John, at any point you feel that you might not come back this year, while the investigation was going on? Did you
Say it again?
Did you have any fear that there was a likelihood that you couldn't come back while you was out when you didn't know?
That wasn't on my mind at all. The only thing that was on my mind was, getting in a better space, like I said, mentally for me. That's the number one thing, being, healthy as possible in all areas of life.
What's it going to be like tomorrow when you get to play? What's that? You have a sense, have you thought about what that's going to be like and the reception you're going to get?
Honestly, I don't know. I feel like, that's another thing that's, has been tough for me. Yesterday going out with the team, early on, I kind of, felt uncomfortable. Kind of feel the same way right now. So I'm going to have my, my time to, process everything. And, like I said to him before, once I feel like, I'm back in rhythm and in good condition to go back out there, I'll be out there.
Does that leave doubts about tomorrow night? Are you going to play tomorrow night?
Still in the air.
What are you uncomfortable with?
A lot of things. It's a lot, man. A lot of people don't know what's, going on, not in my shoes right now with, everything that's been going on as of late. Obviously, it's still, I take, like I said, take responsibility for, decisions I've made that pretty much, hurt me to the core. Not like I said, it not only affected me, but it affected everyone around me, my family, this organization, my teammates, and caused me not to be out there on the floor, which, one thing I love to do the most is, play basketball. So it's a lot, but, like I said before, it's an ongoing process, with everything I've been doing the past 2 weeks, and I'm going to continue to do that to, get through everything I need to be healthy.
So that was Ja Morant speaking with reporters for the first time since his 8-game suspension for conduct that was detrimental to the league. A couple of things, Ja not saying conclusively whether or not he's going to play tomorrow, that he didn't get to do much basketball, understandably, while he's away, so he needs that time to ramp up a little bit. And being away, he said, was the worst part. He said he sent messages apologizing to his teammates, but thought that that was better to do in person. There was a lot there that Ja addressed. Kendrick, what stood out to you?
Well, he talked about how uncomfortable he feel at times, like being back in the facility, and you have that uncomfortable feeling because you're embarrassed, and you're embarrassed by your actions. But this is the hard part, right? He got the hard part out of the way. The hard part is actually, getting back those first couple of days, having to address the media, having to answer the questions. Now, it's the easy part. It's getting back to playing basketball. It's getting back to being in that sanctuary. As a hooper, as a basketball player, a former basketball player, it's nothing like getting back on the floor and just playing the game that you love. You don't have to worry about anything else besides the game. And here's another thing. I'm happy the way that he answered those questions, because when I listened to Ja and I watched Ja, it didn't seem that he was lacking confidence or things to that nature. And you still want him to keep that edge that he has, because that's what got him to this point. So look, the hard part is gone. He addressed the media. He's back. Now all of a sudden he just got to get back his rhythm and get back on the court, and we just need to move forward and watch this guy play basketball.
I completely hear you that basketball, that's the reprieve that comes next. The hard part that he still has to deal with, right, is the continued work that he talked about, that 2 weeks, 10 days away from the team, Chiney, that's not necessarily enough for lasting, sustained change, but it's the first step that now he's going to try to continue hand in hand with what he's describing as one of the most important things to him, which is being on the court.
Yeah, Perk talked about the first takeaway that I had, that he was uncomfortable, and this is the departure from the Ja that we've known and loved on the court, being emotional and happy and smiling and making those highlights. He understands the gravity of this situation, and so rightfully so, he is uncomfortable because this is a position he probably never hoped to be in, right? But the second takeaway that I had was what you mentioned, that continued process. He said ongoing process of him learning how to better himself. And I think it comes down to one word. It's balance. He's trying to find the right balance of being himself, as Perk said. He said, I will always be Ja and keep that edge, but also bettering himself. And he mentioned that, his actions have consequences. And he was very specific to say, I'm not condoning violence. And I thought that was very important to hear. But the last thing I think that really I heard in a unique way was just that the hardest part was being away from the team. And that showed that he knows exactly what is at stake. Because, I mean, I started playing basketball when I was 10 years old. We've been playing basketball, you know, for most of our lives. And when that's gone and everything that comes with it is gone, I think that's the biggest thing that will humble you. And I was glad he mentioned that as well.
Yeah, Ja Morant is 23 years old. You know, we have to remember that. He's a young kid exposed to a pretty interesting, remarkable life at an early age. Mistakes are going to happen. It's an ongoing process, like you said. I don't know what else he was supposed to say today. I think the three of us up here probably could have scripted out a lot of what he said. Ja Morant is famous because he's a great basketball player, because he does spectacular things on the court. He's a popular teammate because of the way he plays. He's unselfish, he cuts, he passes, he brings his teammates with him. He doesn't exist outside of him. It's not Ja and the Jaettes or Ja and the supporting cast or whatever. And he's famous in the end because all of that leads to winning. And as long as they keep winning, Ja Morant's life will be okay. This happened because it interfered with their team and with their winning. So he's right. The words don't matter. The actions matter. And we'll see it on the court, because if the Grizzlies are humming and winning and talking trash like they always do, I think the progress will be there.
Absolutely. And here's another thing. Like, my advice to Ja is that don't worry about, you know, the outside noise at this moment. Just worry about the people that matters, and that's the guys in the locker room and your family. Because, again, in this world of social media, and I'm glad he pointed this out, that he's going to be off of social media, because that could mess with your mentality as well. But at the end of the day, you're going to be judged regardless. And we all are working on ourselves in some type of form or fashion that's not out there in the public. Like, we all probably got some skeletons in our closet that we're trying to correct in our lives, so nobody is perfect. So I think that him getting back on the floor, him going back out there and having one of those 40 pieces and those highlights is going to completely change the narrative. This is not the first time that we didn't see the superstar go through something and then all of a sudden they bounce back and all of a sudden they become the hero again. So, again, I'm happy he got that part out the way, addressing the media, walking back into the facility. Now we're just ready to see Ja back on the floor doing Ja Morant type things, the dark side.
Yeah, the road to normalcy in some ways, that it looks a little bit different now, probably for Ja Morant, as he continues to look around and see how he can, what you said, Kendrick, better himself and continue to work towards a place where he doesn't feel the need to put that out there. But the Grizzlies, they need him. Take a look at their upcoming schedule here. This season, Memphis is 34-19 without Ja Morant. He did not commit to playing Wednesday against the Rockets, but he also did not rule that out. So we will be seeing Ja Morant back on the court after serving that 8-game suspension coming up here soon.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.